Hello and welcome back to the One Report. This is a series here on my channel where we cover all of the big talking points from the past week regarding One Championship. If you checked out any of my videos that I put out on this channel last week, then you will know that I am still kind of recovering from a tooth extraction. And last week was tough going, honestly, a lot harder than I thought it would be. So my voice isn't totally recovered. I can, everything's fine, but I just can't be as animated as I would maybe usually be, or speak as loudly or as clearly, because I can't open my mouth quite as much as I could before. That's a brilliantly timed police siren going off there, if you can hear that through my window. So yeah, but we're back. I'm hoping that after today, I'm going to try and take it easy today and hope that we will be back up and running. For the rest of the week, there will be a lot of content, hopefully, providing that my voice is all right, coming out through the rest of the week because it is a big week for One Championship. 1169 goes down this Friday, November 8th at Lumpinee Stadium. Obviously, originally planned for Atlanta. It is one of the biggest cards of the year that they have put on, and we've had a lot of news coming out lately. So there's actually quite a lot to talk about on this episode. The most we've had to talk about in a few episodes. So we will get to all of that and more. Again, apologies if I sound slightly less good than usual, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it's been a rough one. So we're recovering, but yeah, of course we had to put the One Report out. The show must go on, as they say. And that is exactly what we will do today. Hopefully tomorrow I will have my preview of 1169 for you. I might also do a separate video on another One Championship talking point as well, but we'll actually get to that in this video later on in the video when we talk about Mikey Musumeci. But until then, we've got a few big fight announcements to talk about, and that is going to be the majority of our runtime here before, like I said, we'll get to Musumeci at the end. And we are going to kick things off for today's episode with One Friday Fight 92, which is the fourth and final pay-per-view Friday Fights card of the year. Whether it's pay-per-view for you depends on where you are in the world. For me here in the UK, it will probably be free on One Championship's YouTube. I believe the last fair few have. Aside from the like the first couple, I'm kind of blocking the thing there. There you go. There you go. So we had two fights announced for One Friday Fights 92. Like I said, Lumpinee Stadium pay-per-view card. And first of all, we have Sitchai taking on Shadow. That is a really, really interesting featherweight Muay Thai bout. One that I didn't see being put together, but I'm very excited to see it. I think this is a solid addition. Is it, we tend to get a fair few title fights on these cards. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't. When you look at the matchups we've had announced so far and the matchups that they could potentially make, a lot of those striking champions are busy. The only one that I can think that maybe could be on this card would be a Petjija or potentially who I don't really know what's happening with Smiller at the moment. So that seems unlikely. But yeah, Petjija seems like would maybe be the obvious one, but I don't know, considering I feel like she would have been announced already. But who knows? So we have Sitchai here versus Shadow. Like I said, really, really good matchup. Sitchai coming off of that big win over Masaki Noiri, where he looked back to his best. I mean, maybe not like back to his best in like a peak form kind of way, but for this stage in his career, at 33 years old, but obviously a veteran of the game, I thought he looked very, very good against Noiri last time out. And Shadow, I thought, also looked great last time out against Mohamed Siasarani at the last pay-per-view Friday Fights card, Friday Fights 81. It's on a nice little 3-fight winning streak as well now. So he is hitting some form, and obviously if he's able to go out there and beat Sitchai, that is absolutely huge. I think probably the more exciting matchup here is Anissa Mexen versus Kana Morimoto. It's the One Championship debut of former K1 star and champion Kana Morimoto. I still don't know whether it's Kana or Kana. I'm going to go with Kana, but if it's Kana, tell me in the comments below. We'll keep going with Kana for the time being. This, of course, is a one championship double booking, which has been a big theme of this year and a bit of a talking point. Because Anissa will be in action this week at 1169. What did I say? 1116? Oh, God, that always throws me off. 1169, where she will be taking on Jackie Buntan for the inaugural strawweight kickboxing world championship. I don't, this card isn't until December 20th. So as far as double bookings go, she's got the best part of 2 months, I suppose. Well, not really, I guess. It's more like a month and a half before those. So I think it's not the most egregious one. And it's good that Anissa is being kept busy if she wants to be kept busy. I think that it's a little bit poorly timed, but I also understand, we didn't originally have Anissa versus Jackie on that Atlanta card, and then we had it added for when the card moved to Lumpini. So I think you probably could have, obviously, you also have the case where Anissa and Jackie were scheduled to fight earlier originally, before Jackie got injured and the fight got postponed. So it's not an ideal scenario. It's not a dreadful scenario. There is a little bit of a concern that Anissa could get injured against Jackie. Jackie also has power in her hands too. So I think, her stopping Anissa certainly isn't out of the question. And then that would really cause some problems for this fight because you don't really have a super bon Joe Natalwart kind of scenario where you just put Super Bon into the title fight with Tawanchai instead. Maybe you do, but the problem is Jackie Buntan's at strawweight now, and could she go down to atomweight to fight Kana? I don't think so, especially on that kind of turnaround, but we'll see what happens here. And yeah, I'm sure we'll find out in the near future what is going to happen with that. Well, we'll find out this Friday, in fact. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is it silly of one championship to do this double booking stuff? I mean, it has bit them in the past. I suppose is where I was going with that. I am having a coffee because, like I said, it is rough today. I've got my Anchorman mug. Delightful. All right, let's talk about one Friday fights. Not one Friday fight, sorry. Actually, before we get on to One Fight Night 26, which is going to be our next talking point, I was expecting to come on this show and talk about last week's Friday fights. Obviously, that went down last Friday because I thought George Jarvis was not going to get a one contract for stopping Ringrawi, and I was stunned. That was a great win, a good performance. My hair is absolutely crazy today, by the way, hence the Tyler the Creator hat. And yeah, I thought he wasn't going to get a one contract, and then Chatri kind of went back on his initial decision and brought Jarvis back into the ring at Friday Fights to give him a contract. That was crazy. I can't believe that he wouldn't have got a contract immediately for that win anyway. Beating a top contender like Ringwawi. Yeah, crazy stuff. But he got one anyway. Very excited to see what he can do in that division because that is a big statement win for him. All right, let's pull up a One Fight Night 26. We did already put a video up on this channel to talk about the fact that Christian Lee, his lightweight title defense against Alibeg Razulov, will now take place at this very event rather than at 1169 this week. That got changed last week. So, like I said, full reaction video is up on the channel already about that decision. Although I do wish I had more context at the time because I kind of theorized that the reason for that would be to give Christian more of a spotlight, and that is basically what Chatri said when asked about it. My hair is just like too long right now, so it doesn't even fit in a hat, I don't care. That is the kind of week that it has been, I'll tell you how we're gonna fix this. We'll give it nowhere to go. One Fight Night 26 goes down December 6th at Lumpini Stadium in Bangkok, of course. Christian Lee in the main event. We also have a co-main event. It is the Atomweight Submission Grappling World Championship rematch between Maisa Bastos and Danielle Kelly. These two fought at what was the event? I've actually forgotten. One Fight Night 24. That was the Jared Brooks versus Gustavo Balart interim strawweight title card, where Mosa Bastos got the win over Danielle Kelly. It was a fairly controversial one, I think. Danielle Kelly was pretty upset that she lost that fight. She didn't think that she did. It was a very, very close fight, so I don't think it was like a robbery or anything like that, but I can also understand that Danielle Kelly maybe felt like she had a reason or a good enough case, and probably warranted a rematch, I think, considering how close the fight was. So I am not surprised to see this one rebooked, especially because Kelly is a star that One Championship have put a lot of investment into. And I wasn't surprised to see Bastos pick up the win. Not that I am a submission grappling expert or I particularly watch either of them a lot. Obviously, I've watched Kelly a lot of times at this stage during One Championship, or during her One Championship run, I should say. And just going off of Bastos's credentials, I was like, I think that this is a matchup that is really, really difficult for Danielle Kelly. And she actually did really well in the contest, I thought. Like I said, it was very closely contested. Bastos got the win, but like I said, it was a narrow win. They'll run it back. I think Bastos will probably come out on top again. But we'll see. And like I said, we're going to get to Mikey Musumeci a little bit later on. I'll talk a little bit about whether I might make a video on this specifically, and that will also talk about Danielle Kelly and Mosa Bastos. So potentially more on that to come. I know that people aren't necessarily the biggest fans of submission grappling in One Championship, but I'm sure there are some people out there that are. And I think even if you aren't, we're probably overdue a video of talking about it and talking about where it's at right now and things like that. So that might come later on in the week, but I think we'll just see how my voice is doing, to be honest. Like I said, we'll get to that at the end of this episode where we talk about Musumeci. We also have Denis Puric versus Elias Mahmoudi. This is a great fight. I love this fight so much. Elias Mahmoudi looked absolutely fantastic at One Fight Night 24, where he stopped Taiki Naito with an unbelievable knockout. I believe off the top of my head, it was a spinning back fist. I actually can't remember. I just remember being like, oh, whoa, what a performance. But yeah, Mahmoudi has put together back-to-back finishes, one of them over Edgar Tabarez, who, of course, famously fought Rodtang. Denis Puric fought Rodtang last time out at 1167, put on a fantastic kickboxing match. A fairly one-sided kickboxing match, if we're being honest, but it was very entertaining nonetheless. Denis Puric brought the action as we expected he would. And I had a lot of fun watching it. So I have a lot of fun watching Denis Puric. I thought Elias Mahmoudi looked great last time out. I think that this fight makes a lot of sense, and should make for a very exciting clash of styles between these two. Great addition, especially for a fight night card. Like that is that could be on a numbered card, like a 1/170 or something like that for sure. That fight is super fun. We also have the return of the former strawweight kickboxing world champion JDB, Jonathan DeBella, who takes on Rui Batalio. These two seemed like they were going to fight when DeBella was champion. Batalio went and got that win over Zhang Peimian that was pretty controversial. It was a split decision win for him. But after a tough old losing streak, lost 4 in a row. Admittedly, one of those losses was to Superlek, but lost 4 in a row. Came back and beat Zhang Peimian off of a 4-fight losing streak, and then got a win over Tong Poon last time out, where he looked good. I was impressed by that performance. We did cover it on one of these episodes. And so deserved the big fight, I think. And yeah, like I said, these two guys looked like they were going to fight when DeBella was still champion. Obviously, DeBella ended up fighting Prajanchai instead. So it makes sense. And I think it's a little bit harsh on DeBella, maybe, because I think he deserves that rematch with Prajanchai regardless. Their fight was super close. I had DeBella winning. I think a lot of people did have DeBella winning. And so I think they could have just done the rematch there personally. Batalio did put in a good performance, like I said, over Tong Poon. So made a good case for getting a big fight, but I'm just not sure maybe it was this fight that he should have got. Maybe you could have done we have Sam A back at 1169 this week, right? You could have done Botelho versus Sam A, maybe. Obviously, I think Sam A was booked before Botelho had even fought, maybe. So, not that they could have predicted the future and paired those two together, but who knows? A little bit harsh on JDB, but I am very excited to see him back. I'm a big fan of Jonathan DeBella, and yeah, I will be gutted for him if he loses this fight. Not to I don't want to have favorites and things like that. I do love watching Jonathan DeBella, but like I said, Rui Botelho looked very good last time out. If he goes and beats Jonathan DeBella, that is a huge statement performance from him and an incredible story. 4-fight losing streak, turns it around, wins 3 in a row, beating Jonathan DeBella. Like, that's incredible. So it's not that I'm rooting against Rui Botelho, but it would feel incredibly harsh on Jonathan DeBella if he does not get that Pragnachai rematch and then, is forced to fight a guy that has got some momentum behind him right now, and then loses the opportunity to rematch for his world title. His world title that it was a vacant title that they fought for, wasn't it, technically? But it was DeBella's title. Let's be honest. We do also have another fight. I said that so wrong. A lot of people won't know this if you're not from England, but I am from a part of England that has a very strong, what many people would probably refer to as a farmer accent. I personally don't have that much of it. A lot of people that live in the same place as me and my friends and such do. And then that came out then for a second there. You can tell I've been going through it. It's been a rough week. Another fight. Another fight that we have announced for this card has not been added to the website yet, but it is announced via One Championship's Instagram, which we will pull up right now for you. And that is Tong Poon versus Daniel Williams. Tong Poon, I feel like every single time I come around to talk about one of these cards, he's fighting. Like, let me have a look actually at his recent run, because I don't think it is that true. I don't think it is that he fights every month, but it really feels like it. I feel like I'm always talking about him. Yeah, October. He last fought in October against Rui Botelho, and then before that it was May. He did have that fight scheduled, right, and then pulled out of it due to an injury, I think. I can't remember who that was against. So maybe that's why it feels like we've been talking about him loads. And obviously he's faced a lot of names that we talk about a lot. So maybe that's why. But yeah, I feel like this dude fights constantly. Against Daniel Williams, look, Tom Poon might have his detractors, but he is a super entertaining guy to watch. Daniel Williams, also super fun to watch, always comes to throw down. Obviously, got a win last time out in MMA, but is going back to straight Muay Thai. He did say after that MMA fight that he wanted to go back to Muay Thai. So, yeah, Williams gets his wish. Big name opponent in Tong Poon, who, like I said, we seem to be always talking about. And this fight should deliver a really fun fight. So I think this is another really solid addition. I think that this one fight night card, in contrast to last year's December card, that kind of felt a little bit like a second thought, a bit of a scrambled together card at the last minute. It ended up being a fun card. Was it the Cricklier card? Is that what was the December one? I can't remember now, but I remember it being a lot of fun. And yeah, this card looks really good. I think that this card looks fantastic. We've got some really, really fun striking contests on here with Tong Poon versus Daniel Williams, Jonathan DeBella versus Botelho, Purich versus Mahmoudi, submission grappling co-main event that, again, it's not for everyone. I am quite interested in it to see what adjustments Danielle Kelly can make after losing the title. And then you have the return of Christian Lee, which I think is a great story, and I'm excited to see how he looks after all of this time away against a fighter that is going to probably put his cardio and things to the test in Alibek Razilov. So yeah, good card. I think this is it's one of the stronger probably fight nights that we've had so far, just based on these 5 fights that we've had announced. So fair play to One Championship. Going back to One Championship's Instagram here, I'm going to scroll all the way down for our final fight announcement that we will talk about. And that is Surayanlek versus Tant Zin for 170. Supposedly, there are going to be a few fighters on this card who are not signed to One Championship, but will get kind of an opportunity to showcase themselves, which I think both of these guys are deserving of. And I think Tant Zin, in particular, after that performance against Takeru, is very deserving of. Clearly has a big fan base. coming over from his Lethway background, and this should be a really, really fun fight as well. And I expect this one to deliver. And yeah, great addition for 170. And yeah, this card looks like a lot of fun. The striking, we've got 4 striking fights announced for this card, and all of them look to be a lot of fun. So no complaints from me. 170 looks very, very good indeed. I'll have a sip of my coffee and then we'll talk about Mikey Musumeci, shall we? Let me pull up. I'll pull up Mikey's Instagram here because he did put a statement out to announce the news that he has parted ways with One Championship. There you go. I'm blocking it right now, so I'm just going to block Mikey for a second here. Yeah, I guess we'll read this through. End of a chapter of my life. Today, I would like to announce I will no longer be living in Asia or competing under One Championship. He talks about when he met Chatri. He talks about how he ended up moving to Asia. These past 3 years, I've had some of the best memories and lessons of my life. Talks about some of the incredible people he has met. The opportunity that one gave him to be the first submission grappling world champion, the platform and opportunity to help grow the sport of jiu-jitsu. This part of my life, I am ready to now stay permanently home in the US where my family is and start a new chapter of my competition career and life. Asia will always be my second home. Thank you, everyone that supports me. I am beyond grateful. God bless. So, let's talk about this. Like I said, I might put up a video on this channel. Sorry, I'm constantly doing that because my hair is really annoying me. Like, what is going on there? That's better. Like I said, I might put a video up on this channel speaking about Mikey leaving One and where the submission grappling division are at right now in One. We did have the announcement that they've signed a couple of new exciting guys that, again, we might talk about in that separate video. In fact, I can pull that up because it's on One's Instagram here, and their names escape me. There you go. Cole Abate and Dante Leon. Exciting additions from all accounts. As for Mikey, who I shall pull back on screen here, I feel like this wasn't necessarily surprising. And my reasoning for that is not necessarily because of what happened where he was stripped of his title ahead of 1168. I just feel like the relationship had kind of fulfilled its purpose. Not that, that's not to say badly on One or Mikey. But when you look at when Mikey signed, what benefits both parties could get out of such a partnership, I think both of them got what they wanted to some degree. If you look at what you would want from Mikey during his time in One, couple of title defenses, yeah, did that. Has been a very good representative of One and of submission grappling during his time in One. Yeah, he's done that. He's been a great spokesperson for them and for submission grappling as a whole. He had a kind of crossover matchup with an MMA champion in Jared Brooks. Yeah, I would have wanted to see something like that, I think. He avenged his last loss. I can't remember the Brazilian guy's name now, that he beat at 167, was it? And just put on a show and looked so dominant. And the only big regret is that we didn't get to see him and Cade. I would have loved to have seen that before he departed. My head is just itchy now. It's not even the hair that's annoying. It's just my head. I will try and get through this Mikey stuff, all right? Maybe we will cover this in a separate video because Jesus, this is not how this was supposed to go. I've lost full train of thought. I would have loved to have seen the Cade match. I'm gutted that we didn't get to see that. That is the big regret, I think. But in terms of, like I said, what did One get out of Mikey? I think they got everything that they wanted. The stripping of the title after he tried to make flyweight on a very short turnaround was a bad idea on Mikey's behalf to try and do that, I think, and also a bad decision on one's behalf to let him try and do that. I think that they probably should have put their foot down and said, "You're not going to make flyweight. Let's not even do this," because by agreeing to do that, they then get put into a situation where they're going to strip him if he loses, if he doesn't make the weight, and he didn't, and that happened. In terms of what Mikey was able to get out of one, he was able to put himself on a big platform. He was able to get a few high level matchups and things like that. I think with Mikey leaving, like I said, it just kind of feels like it's run its course. I know that he wanted to compete at CJI this year, that being the Craig Jones Invitational, and he couldn't. I know that the Ruotolos have a thing in their contract with one where they can go and compete elsewhere, like do ADCC and CJI and things like that. I don't think Mikey had the same thing. So I think that was probably a big reason for him wanting to leave as well. And frankly, I just don't feel the need to see Mikey win back the flyweight belt. We all know he was the flyweight submission grappling world champion. We all know that he probably would have beaten whoever one were able to match him with. For Mikey at this stage in his career, I don't know what is going to be next. Interesting that he talks about, this next kind of phase of his career. If he's going to go back into competing in, super fights like CJI, that will be cool. Or even tournaments, which are probably going to be the toughest test for him. I just think if you give him a training camp to compete against another guy at flyweight, it's going to be so hard for them to beat him because he's so good. So tournaments and super fights and things like that seem like the next step for him, or the only step for him, really. The hat is really throwing me off my game today, guys. So I do apologize. Like I said, it was going to be a tough one to get through regardless, but the hat is not helping. So I wasn't shocked by this news, and I think it's probably, like I said, it's kind of run its course. I think it's probably a good move for both parties at this stage. Although it does leave some interesting questions regarding what one is going to do with these divisions. We'll talk about it, like I said, I think in a separate video later this week, providing that my voice is holding up. But Mikey being gone, and he was the first champion and probably the most vocal of all the champions. Cade, I would say, being the other kind of focus of their submission grappling divisions, and he is putting submission grappling on the back burner to compete in MMA. And even then, when he is competing in grappling, he's competing in things like CJI. This coffee is starting to taste a bit off. If you're wondering why there was a little bit of a pause there. So I think we'll leave it there with Mikey, and we'll get to it at a separate point, and we'll talk a little bit more about where one goes from here with the submission grappling divisions, because I think Mikey being gone is a big hit from that, but I also just don't really think there was much left for him in one apart from the Cade matchup. And they tried it once and it didn't happen. And so and it wasn't Mikey's fault that the Cade matchup didn't happen either. Obviously, Cade couldn't compete because of the some of the injuries he had from CJI, which was always going to be a tough turnaround for him in the first place. So I don't blame Mikey for that. I think he's been fantastic during his time in one. I think he's really helped add prestige to the submission grappling division, and I think that he has really helped one feel like a legitimate player in this space, along with Cade and Ty and Daniel Kelly, and Besa Bastos as well, for that matter. But I would put Mikey at the front of that pack. And yeah, I think he's been great value for them. So whatever you think of one submission grappling, and hey, I'm not always the biggest fan. I'm not always in the mood to watch a submission grappling contest, but Mikey is so good at what he does. His story is so interesting that I always enjoy watching him compete. Always enjoy hearing him break down his fights and things like that. Super interesting guy, and it's going to be weird to not have him around anymore, to be honest. But like I said, I think this is probably the right thing for everyone involved at this stage. Let me know what you guys think. Are you even bothered? You might not be. But let me know regardless what you guys think. I think we will leave it there. I probably could have done longer on this one and spoken about these matchups a little bit more in detail, but I am trying to take it a little bit easier at the start of this week. I say that like I said, 1169 preview will be out on this channel. Hopefully tomorrow. I will try and make it tomorrow, and we will see how we get on. Thank you for tuning into this video and putting up with my less than energetic commentary, I guess, and me constantly being annoyed at my own hair. If you've watched my videos before, you know that it's something that annoys me anyway. I'm constantly doing this. It's kind of a tick, I guess, when I record videos that I play with my hair, and today it is particularly bad. But like I said, we've been feeling under the weather this week, so I just don't really care, and I'm just putting up with it. And yeah, I appreciate you all. I appreciate your support. 1169 preview coming this week. I hope you enjoy whatever else I put out on this channel this week. I guess we will be talking more about Mikey Musumeci and submission grappling at some stage this week. Also, like I said, providing the voice holds up. I appreciate you coming here and showing this channel support. As always, I will see you very, very soon. If I don't see you very soon, enjoy the fights this weekend, and we'll chat about them next week on The One Report. See you later.